Well, welcome back, everyone. We have Dr. Perry Bush from Bluffton University in, and we are going to be talking about some of those primaries that just happened. And welcome, Perry.
Always good to be here, Chris. Thank you.
All right. So the New Hampshire primaries obviously just occurred. Donald Trump won. However, almost half the votes went to Nikki Haley, which was kind of surprising with the polls.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. This was hard to know. Again, things start changing, Chris, so fast in American politics. Maybe all the old patterns are gone, but it looks like that was her last best shot. I mean, if there's any place where Nikki Haley should have done well, it was in New Hampshire with the crossover Democratic voters, large numbers of independent voters, large numbers of highly educated Republicans. These are not groups in which Trump has done well with. And I think Haley was hoping she would beat him there and cruise to her home state of South Carolina in a month and win there and then present a different alternative for the Republicans. But it didn't work out according to plan. Trump beat her pretty handily, along with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida and Iowa caucuses last week. He won in New Hampshire this week by 11 points. And the polls recently, new polls, have Haley behind in her home state where she was governor by anywhere from 20, 25, 30 points. I mean, if Trump clobbers her there, as he seems on track to do, then he's just clearly steamrolling his way to the nomination and is on his way to be a Republican nominee. And what Haley can expect, is some real, she says, I'm going to charge on, or this is just getting started. But in reality, the money may dry up. And Trump is clearly signaling he's going to practice the same kind of scorched earth, tough personal politics against her that he practiced against DeSantis and anyone else who stands in his way. And he is a brutal campaigner. I mean, he's already starting to do the kind of ethnic attacks that we've seen as kind of a Trump, part of a Trump staple in his playbook. He did it against Kamala Harris, he did it against Barack Obama, he did it against Ted Cruz. And now he's implying that Haley isn't really a citizen, that he says wherever she's from, using her full Indian name, even though she's been known by Nikki Haley for 30 years. She was born in South Carolina by the 14th Amendment. Anybody born in this country is a citizen. Her parents were legal immigrants. But Trump's going to continue those kind of attacks. And it's going to be tough on former South Carolina Governor Haley. It's hard to believe Trump's not on his way to the nomination.
Yeah, well, I mean, he obviously started the attacks by doing the nicknames already, calling her the bird brain and whatnot. That's kind of typical, I think. Now, Nikki and a lot of others were talking about Trump's cognitive decline, with a lot of the mistakes that he's been doing throughout his campaigning and whatnot, saying stuff like, creating World War II or confusing Nikki with, being at the Capitol riots. And what do you think about this?
Well, in the end, one of his major lines of attack on President Biden, who I expect will be his opponent in the fall campaign, is that Biden is feeble. Biden is losing it mentally. And every time Trump makes a stupid mistake like this and an obvious faux pas, and they can't hit the heat of a campaign trail, people speak all day long, they're going to say things. But Trump is increasingly saying these kinds of things, and it's going to, remind voters that Trump is only 3 years younger than Biden. Trump is not some young spring chicken. And, the attacks on Biden's cognitive decline, that becomes a campaign issue, may come back to haunt Trump. And the other kind of cloud in the horizon for him is he's first time in American history that he's a candidate running for president who's been criminally indicted. He's criminally indicted 91 times. And there are a whole lot of polls coming out that suggest that even Republicans, if Trump is convicted of a crime before the November election, fair numbers of Republicans, not to mention independents and Democrats, just aren't going to vote for him, which is one of the reasons he's got his legal team doing all he can to stall all those criminal trials till after the election, hoping that, he wins. He can tell the Justice Department to lay off the prosecutions. He's talking about pardoning himself. But that's a cloud on the horizon. And, of course, the other issue that is looming there is the economy is actually not doing so bad. If that's the other line of attack he's going to bring against Joe Biden, it may not work. I mean, gas prices have fallen 80%. Catherine Rampell of the Washington Post had a marvelous piece this last week. Gas prices are falling. Inflation actually is coming down. We're at unemployment rates of 4%. And Americans, the polls have shown that they haven't really bought this yet. There are a lot of polls suggest Americans think, geez, we're almost at a recession. But actually, that kind of economic good news is starting to penetrate the consciousness. And that can only help the incumbent right now, who's President Biden. So we'll see. It's a long way to go for November. But as Aaron Blake said in the Washington Post this week, the Republicans, if Trump is the nominee, they're taking a big gamble on him. And who knows how it's all going to shake down.
That's right, and we do have a long way to go. And can you imagine? This is the thing I keep imagining. If Haley drops out and we keep getting those political ads all the way through November, it's going to be unbearable.
It's great for people in your line of work, Chris. I mean, it's great for the television stations, right? All their revenue, but it's hard to know if they even work anymore. I mean, I just tune them out. We all have mute buttons. I don't want to listen to this stuff. I just, boom, right? And same with polls. You know, can you even trust the polls? It's a whole new day in American politics.
That's right. Well, Dr. Perry Bush from Bluffton University, thank you so much for joining us today. I do appreciate it.
Always good to be with you, Chris.
All right. Well, don't go away because we have more to return.